Hola, Jen.
Hi, Alina.
Welcome to Coffee and Chaos.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. We survived the drive over here.
Oh God. Solomon, Jen, anything chaotic happened this week to you guys?
Chaotic.
Okay, life happened? Crazy? Come on, you had how many podcasts going this week? What's happened? Something funny.
Here, let me find my camera here. Let's see. How you guys doing?
Hey, Solomon.
No, not chaotic. I actually took some time off because my daughter graduated high school.
Oh,
Where's
where's our buttons?
Oh, you have no buttons?
Oh, we have no
I guess
You'll have to be in
I'll
control
fill in
of us.
for you here.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, she graduated Carson High School, and
nice.
it was funny because it was
Carson in the house.
it was a night graduation, which is typically not done.
Yeah.
But and so it's getting cold, and this thing's going on forever, right? And then we're getting to the end, we're thinking it's almost over, and the lady says, "Well, I got one more thing for you." So the holy audience is, "What?" Oh, But then all of a sudden you see all of these blue lights just rise up out of nothing, like 100 blue lights, and you're like, "What is that?" And they were drones, and they went up in the sky, and they did just all of these cool patterns and stuff.
Yeah.
It was the coolest thing I've ever seen, and I'm a techie guy,
Oh,
so.
yeah, so you
But
love
to
it.
see that,
Yeah.
I mean, that was just really, really cool. But yeah, but not to
Carson
overshadow the
Colts.
fact that she graduated.
Yeah.
She's on her way to UC Berkeley. We got to figure out how to pay that off. So you guys get some more people in here, do some more podcasts, and it'll be good.
How about you,
Awesome.
Jen?
You know what, Alina? I was trying to think about it, and honestly, I had no chaos this week, except from a few phone calls of my mom, and I do have a senior mom, as many of you know, that does have dementia, so I get a few phone calls, and go and check on her after work, but just working, checking in on mom, and
Nice.
that's it. Yeah. What about you?
Seth left yesterday,
Where'd he go?
South Dakota, to play baseball for the summer.
Oh,
And as happy as I am for him, inside as he's telling me, I was like, you could do this. You could handle this. He could go. But outwardly, I'm like, how fast do you need a plane ticket? When you get packed? What did you need? Like,
yeah,
go, 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 go.
yeah.
So other than that, that was the only thing this week.
Well, so it sounds like you'll have more time to do more episodes.
Yes. Speaking of that, Solomon's going to be a huge part of our episode today.
Yes.
What?
We got a juicy one, Solomon.
Oh my God.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
You ready for my question?
Well, first tell our viewers what it is.
That's what
Okay.
that's what it is. Can men and women truly just be friends? Either one of you could say yes, no, maybe so. Like
I think you're supposed to say your answer first. I'm just supposed to commentate.
That's a
all.
very loaded question, and let's get into it. Let's
Well, what's your opinion? Do you think they can? By the way, this is my second cup.
Is that
of
your second cup of
It
coffee?
is.
Oh.
So I'm going to try not to cut you off.
No.
So go on.
It's a very loaded question because it's very unique to each person. And since I knew that was going to be our topic, I've asked many men and women, and people have a lot of strong opinions on that. In general, it doesn't seem to have been a thing that can work out, but many men and women, especially like for me, I mean, in the community that I'm a part of, there's many men and women that are friends. Maybe not to the level of like hanging out. I guess there's got to be some boundaries.
Well, okay. Well, you just mentioned that. First of all, you have to ask yourself, what is friendship?
Yes.
So friendship, because in your community or in my community, I talk to a lot of guys,
Yes.
a lot of acquaintances. Doesn't mean we're friends. For me, a friend means if I got married, you're coming to my wedding. If I throw a graduation party for Seth, you and your girlfriend or wife or just you are invited, and my husband or boyfriend would be okay with that. So that's to me, that's friendship.
Yes.
So there's a lot of guys that I have acquaintances with that we are on a work basis thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't consider those friends. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about genuinely, do you have guy friends that you talk to, text on a daily basis? Your fiance knows them, okay with you guys, all of that stuff.
Not on a daily basis, but yes, I do have guy friends, dear guy friends. No, we don't text on a regular basis, but occasionally, for phone calls or texts. It's usually related in things going on in our lives that we'll both be a part of. But that's a good analogy with inviting to the wedding because all those people I would invite to the wedding.
Yeah, because I have 4 guy friends, I would say. Like, I have a lot of people that we talk to or whatever, but 4 guy friends that I could truly consider my friends who
Yeah.
with Seth being, a boy, me being a single mom raising a boy, even my daughter who is a tomboy and likes to do these daring things that I was never okay with. I have these guys that I can ask questions to, and they've genuinely became and are still my friends, but if I got married, whoever I'm getting married to would have to accept them, and I would hope that they could enjoy each other's man friendship,
Yes.
but if I'm friends with them and they're friends with me, I don't how do their spouses feel? Like, that's a question that I've always made known, like, she's never cool with it, and for me, I know if I was married to have a boyfriend, for my husband, why do you have a girlfriend? So it's almost
Yes.
hypocrisy. Because I would if we're sitting down and some girl sends my husband a text like, "Hey, just checking on you. How are you doing?" My first thing goes up, "He's fine. Why are you worried about my man?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really hard unless they had those friendships before I came around, right? Like
Oh,
if
yes.
he grew up with some girl who's a neighbor and they've been friends forever, but
Not a
men
new
and
friendship.
women are like one of them's going to want to be with the other one, I feel like.
Yes. Yes.
Do you think so, Solomon?
The short answer is yes.
See, that's yeah.
You want the long answer?
No,
Okay.
I want do you have any friends that are girls that are just strictly friends?
Yes, I do. However, uh, the most important thing is you got to think about how it starts, though, right? And the way I see it is 'cause how it starts is this: there's always going to be some level of attraction somewhere. At some point, someone's going to set a boundary. Once that boundary is set, then that's when a friendship can flourish.
Mm.
You see what I mean? And so, yeah, people you have friends with, you're friends with now, that are guys, it's because way back when somewhere you set a boundary or they set a boundary or whatever. And I set boundaries because, like, if I want someone to be colleagues or whatever, and frankly, I think it'd be too much trouble to cheat. It's like, what's the point? So those are the boundaries that I set. And so it allows you to then have friendships where you can actually find out more about that person and, get all the different benefits of friendship or being colleagues or work or whatever. But there are people who say, and I sort of believe this too, that once those boundaries drop,
Yeah.
anything can happen, you know what I mean? And so that's the thing, especially when we're talking about women who set boundaries against men, right? So men are your friends, but the minute they think there's a possibility that they can
Mm.
get in them
Didn't we say that
pants,
earlier? That they're
it's
just
on after
waiting in
that.
the shadows,
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna be her friend, and the moment somebody breaks her heart or she's vulnerable, I'm gonna slide right in.
I've heard that one before. And then I heard one man and he was saying that he thinks that some women and what I never thought of this analogy. A man told me this that some women keep guys as their friends that they're never going to go out with, but they like the attention they get from them or the validation or the compliments or whatever.
Right.
And they kind of use them in that way for friendship. And maybe the guy is thinking the same thing.
Now, is this guy
Yeah.
single? Because if this guy is married and they're just friends, shame on
Yeah.
him,
Shame on
because
him.
technically that's cheating, because somewhere in the
Yeah.
back of his head, he's just waiting for
Well, I
this
guess single,
oh, yeah.
probably single.
Now that's a
Um,
major question. Can single women and single men just be friends? I think that's even harder because why are you guys going to the movies together? Why are you guys hanging out, talking about each other's dates and love lives and all this? Why don't you guys just do it together then if you guys are always together hanging out?
well, I think like Solomon said, if the boundary was set, maybe where
Let's think
one isn't
about
attracted to the other.
there you go. And that's the biggest boundary in that situation. One of them just doesn't find the other attractive. And so that pretty much negates it right there. So
And maybe that's like for instance, even friendships. It doesn't have to be like so you could have the friendship and I have plenty of guys friends I'm not physically attracted to, but just like in friendships with females or males, there's something I find attractive in them.
Oh yeah.
I just don't want to sleep with them, but I do believe water seeks its own level. So in that aspect, but you know, maybe the
Well,
sexual
I'm
part's not
madly
there.
in love with my friends,
Yes.
like my best friend Kathy, like and she'll tell you, "Oh, Lena's gay, she just doesn't know it yet." Like, I'm madly in love with her, like,
Yeah.
we have such a good time together, like, I go to her house and just chill on her couch.
Yeah.
Her husband is one of my friends,
Yeah.
but her husband and I don't really talk or text unless I'm there, like, it's
Yes.
very like, okay, I couldn't get a hold of her on Saturday,
Yep.
so I called him.
Yep.
If she goes back and looks at his phone later, she'll never think twice why I called him, or if when we were planning her surprise birthday party, we were texting behind her back, obviously, right? But
Mhm.
there's never I consider him my friend.
Yes.
He would be
But
there.
friends with boundaries.
No, not even a boundary because he's married and she's my best friend. No one neither one of us had to put that on. That's already a given.
Yeah.
Like, don't he's come and fixed my sprinklers. He put up my ring in my house. He's like a brother to me.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely love him and he's amazing to her. And when I go sleep on her couch for like 2 days, because I had before my grandma moved in with me,
Yeah.
he's like, I got Dr. Pepper's in the fridge for Alina. What are we gonna order for dinner? Like, he's so good. And I consider him a friend, but
Yes.
that is still all out in the open. Him and I don't ever go out or hang out or
Yeah.
talk out of that, right?
Yes.
So there's always those situations. But if I have guy friends and I think at my age at 49, I'm also kind of there's no need to make new friends
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
if I meet someone today and I put him in the friend zone, more than likely he's not going to want to hang out with me because
Yeah.
at 49 he already has his group of friends,
Yeah.
right? So all my other friends, maybe those boundaries were set and we didn't realize it, whether that guy did or I did, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
my 4 particular guy friends that I know I can count on are my friends today at 49. And I mean, I've been friends with one of them since I was like 16 or 17.
Mhm.
Actually, two of them. So not just one of them, two. Those boundaries have been set years ago. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, so, but today, I don't think that if I met a guy and we're just friends, one of us is going to want something. Like,
Yes.
you couldn't just be friends.
No.
And if I put a boundary, the guy would get his feelings hurt or talk shit about the guy that I'm dating and he'd bounce.
Yes.
If I want to be more than friends and that's all he wants, I'm just gonna hurt myself. So
Mm.
why be friends with you? Like,
Yes.
I'm good. I'm gonna go move on. So I mean you can, but I think every situation is different, you know. But for the most part, especially if you're married, having friends with the opposite sex is so hard. And I don't know, like, how would Ricardo feel if you met somebody new and you're coming home like, oh, my friend Bob, and always talking about Bob? At some point, Ricardo's going to be like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
no more Bob.
Probably, yeah, a new friend wouldn't go over well. And
No.
on either parties. I guess, well, unless it's like a work friend, because I mean so the friendships I have in the community that I'm involved in the recovery community and in work, those are friends that I do consider friends, just I don't like hang out with them outside of those
So then
things.
are they really your friends?
Yes.
Because, okay, so if they're really your friends, if you had a flat tire at 2 a.m., you can call him and they would come fix your tire?
I have friends in that community that definitely I would call them if something like that would happen. I'd call Ricardo first though. But, I guess if he wasn't available, yes, I would have
Good answer. That was a
yes,
really good
I would definitely call Ricardo first.
Because he'd be like, why did Bob fix your flat tire last
Yes.
night?
But in like as for like the texting or the calling, that's if something going on that
Yeah.
it's part of
Yeah.
work related
Yeah.
or my community I'm involved in related, something like that, so there's that has to go on. But I'm also mature enough now. I think maturity, what do you think, Solomon? Maturity has a lot to do with it too.
We
Like
talked
as
about that. You said no.
Well, I said it wasn't the main factor. I mean, yeah, but it's not so much maturity as it is just like you your values change, right? There are certain things that become important, certain things that aren't. You know what I mean? And you're not out at 45 or 49 trying to go chase down every piece of whatever, you know what I mean, as you would be at 20. And so there's a different level of temptation. You just have a different focus. And
Yeah.
so that lends into it where it makes it easier for you to be colleagues because you're not necessarily trying to chase anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a friend, and we won't say names, Pedro boy, a few years back. And he was kind of dating, not, I wasn't at the time.
Mhm.
And we would talk and we would text and we go on hikes and we get Starbucks. We went to dinner a few times and like we were just had this like great friendship, like
Yeah.
friends. And I was always like, I don't get why like he was dating somebody. Um, but that wasn't working out. So I was just like, I don't get like how you're single, like you're this great guy and da 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 da. And so I kept saying like, well, what about this girl or that girl? And he'd say, no, no, no. So one day, excuse me, I said, well, what about this girl? And he's like, can you talk? And I was like, yeah, call me. And he said, no. And I was like, well, you could have just put that in a text. You didn't have to call me.
Yeah.
He's like, do you know why I keep telling you no? And I was like, no, why? He's like, because I want to go out with you. And I was like,
Mm.
so I was like, you know what? Let's try it. Biggest mistake of my life.
Mm.
Because my friend, who I thought was just my friend, in the back of his head wanted more. So
Mm.
he was always on his best behavior.
Yeah.
Now we're dating, and oh my God, I met the devil. And I even said, like, where did this person come from? Because I didn't know this person and we're not friends anymore. And I will never be friends with him.
Mhm.
But it literally took me to the point where now I feel like I'm too old to be friends with a guy, like guys that I haven't been friends with, because it made me realize like I thought we were just friends. And then I tried it and I saw a whole side of the real him that I didn't know.
Which could bring us into, can men and women be friends with their exes? And also, especially at our age, there's a lot of people that are divorced or dating people that have
Your
children.
face, Solomon, I love it.
And I know that I had my bout of experience with that and it didn't go well. I know of, so say you're dating somebody or you're remarried, they have to co-parent obviously with their ex, and you can't say anything about it and they're going to go over there on either side. Does that happen and it's a healthy thing and for many couples and it's successful? Yes. Do I think there's lots of couples that still sleep together and hook up on both parties, whether it's man or woman? Absolutely. And that you'd never know about that because there's some people, they're so comfortable. Maybe they don't want that person anymore, but they're so comfortable still with that aspect of their life. It's like, you know, that they kind of feel entitled to that. And that is a risk you take, I think, if you're dating somebody with minor children. Maybe when the kids are grown. Um, See, that's why
I'm so the wrong person to ask because of my mom and my brother and my sister. He'd be like, oh, you guys done fucked up. Should never ask Alina that question. I am friends with my exes to an extent,
yeah.
meaning I don't wish bad upon them. I think they're amazing. If they needed a favor, I will do my best to help them, vice versa. But like Solomon said, there has to be a boundary there
Mhm.
because I would never want to get it twisted.
Mhm.
So, are we friends where we hang out and have coffee and tea? I did have an ex that I did all that with,
Mhm.
and he did get married. And he's an amazing human being. And I realized that that wasn't right. That's not fair. I had no intentions of anything. I don't think he had any intentions of anything, but we were friends. And I realized that if that was me,
Mhm.
I would not be okay with my husband being friends with his exes. So
Yeah.
can exes be friends? Yes. Should they be friends? Probably not. And you brought in the whole, well, they're co-parenting. Um, Marcus and I co-parented and we did it pretty well for a while. But exactly the reason of what you said, like I think it was hard for the two of us to be together and have a child and share a child, but he was married and I didn't care, but I was this wild single girl, and he in the back of his head, I think, knew it. Like, every time I have Seth, you're out. Well, yeah, I'm not married and you have my son for the weekend. What did you think I was going to do? So it
Yeah.
caused a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So with the co-parenting, I don't think that's easy either. And I don't think it's hard to be friends with your exes.
It is hard to be friends with your exes, and I'm sure it's and hard to, and vice versa. You're dating or going out with people that do have exes that they're going to be part of their life all the time. You know.
But I think as a co-parent, like, I meet somebody today and he has kids.
Mhm.
Definitely, I'm a huge, like, believer in you need to treat her right. She's the mother of your children.
Yes.
Whatever you 2 went through, like, it doesn't matter anymore. It's only matters for the children. So
Yes.
100% you do need to talk, but the phone should not be hidden, meaning you shouldn't have to go in the other room to call her. You shouldn't have to go outside to talk to her. She shouldn't be able to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Alina, where's Pablo at? I can't get a hold of him. Like, I don't
Yes.
know where he's at." I'm like, "Oh, he just jumped in the shower. Have him call you back." "Oh, no, no, no. Just tell him the kids will be ready by 10 tomorrow instead of 11."
Yes.
that should be easy, that should be open, that should be flowing. I don't think that I would ever have a say in him and them being friends.
Yeah.
However, if she's calling him at 2 in the morning because she's drunk and she needs a ride home, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
Like, what is
Yes.
my man doesn't need to get out of bed to go get you have friends, you have family, like
Yes.
there's a reason she feels comfortable enough to do that too. So what is he doing that I don't know about?
Yes. I was fortunate both my parents, they they successfully co-parented. They were good friends. I mean, to the point where people would think like, why did they even divorce? Because they were, but they both remarried and they were able to be friends with. And when I say friends, they didn't hang out, but with the new step parents and all of that, because it was all based on, being mature for the child, which was me. Now, myself was a completely different story. But I don't know if it was youth or what, but with my ex, it was, he had other kids from other different people and my kids and with him, and it was drama. We weren't able to be friends. If he went over there with the other kids' moms, there was hooking up and
So are you guys today friends at all?
no, we're not friends. If I
You just
saw
don't
him,
deal with each other.
we don't deal with each other. We don't talk to each other, nothing. Yeah.
Do you guys ever cross paths?
Yep, we cross paths
And you guys
occasionally.
just go like just walk right
We'll
past each other
Well, no,
like
we'll say hello.
oh, okay.
We'll say
Okay.
hello.
Okay.
Hello or yeah.
That's more than Marcus and I. We crossed paths. Oh, I think it was like 3 years ago. And I was looking down at my phone and he walked past me and it was weird. I was like, whoa, what was that? Like I just felt something and I
Yeah.
looked back and I was like, oh shit, that was Marcus. Like,
Yeah.
but we're not even like we can't and it's because we can't be friends. We can't it's just not good. It's
It's
not
not good. There's too much. What
no.
is the expression? There's too much water under the bridge.
Yes.
There's, I think, in some scenarios, and
And he has
especially,
his version, and whatever his version is probably true. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's his version. I have my version. So it's not
yes,
like my, not that my version's wrong or right, but it's my version.
that's right.
There's always my side, his side, and then God looking at both of us like you both lying.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
but I have exes that I'm friends with that I can talk to that I can, and I can text and be like, hey, real quick question, and they're like, what's up? Da da da. Da. But I also make sure that if his wife, who knows me, I would never want her to feel insecure. You know what I mean? Like
Yes,
read it and be like, or like, hey, this or that or whatever. Oh yeah, just do this, this. Okay, thanks. Good looking out. Like.
that's right. Like in my relationship now, if he's actually, I've learned to evolve. I used to years ago, back in my drinking days, and before I've become the woman I am today, of self love for myself. I used to be really jealous, and I would get jealous of I wanted, like, I was the person all to myself. And when I got in this relationship many years ago, he let me know I have he has a lot of women friends that he's close with, not hangs out with personally, but he's involved in a lot of things in the community. So there is coffees and talks and texts
One on one.
that are involving, though, a purpose, like a purpose driven one. Never just like, what are you doing tonight?
Like, what would be an example that he went with another woman to have coffee with, to sit down and have coffee with?
He's like a lot of things. He's like the chairman of a lot of things and
So it's
organizes a
like
lot
more
of
of
events.
it's okay. It's an event meeting. It's not
Events
just
meetings.
no.
So
So it's
it's
not just a sit down and bullshit and let's have coffee and
no,
hang
never,
out.
never.
Okay, because that's what I would not be okay
No,
with.
yeah, never. But these are his friends that he, sees regularly and all of that.
But are they his friends then? If it's a meeting and not a friendship?
Well, when they see each other, just like when I see my friends that are part of my community, we talk about each other's lives and what's going on,
Well,
and we're
yeah,
up
you.
to
But I
date.
mean, I talked to Solomon, and I just met Solomon, and he's great, and we bullshit, and I tell him da 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 da, and he's like, "Girl, you're crazy," and we do this. But I like
I
I.
say that a lot, actually.
But like, I'm not gonna call him on a Saturday in the middle
No,
of the afternoon and be like, "Hey, let's go grab lunch real
no,
quick. I'm bored. What are you doing?"
yeah, and
He's married. I'm not. I'm
that's
not gonna
right.
do
And I
that.
wouldn't be okay with that at all. But they're
I guess
friends,
for
and
me, it comes back to what is friendship, right? Like, so
yeah,
can men and women truly be friends? Like, in today's time, it's easy to text and no feelings really get hurt. Meaning, like, hey, like like, "Hey, did you see this thing at work? Blah, 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 blah." It's a
Mhm.
text, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not calling somebody and saying, like, "Hey, I'm bored. Let's go catch a movie tomorrow." And his
Yeah.
girlfriend's sitting right next to him.
No.
That's what I'm talking about. Can men and women be friends? So I have my friend Regina, her brother and I are super cool friends. We laugh, we joke, we talk, but it's usually around her.
Yeah.
Like, he does his thing, I do my thing. He's totally my buddy, but I would never put myself in a situation where I felt like it's going to go past the boundaries of what I've set for myself and what he has set. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, because we do talk about our kids, we have gotten personal about his stuff and his life and my stuff, but it's always in like a group scenario. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Um,
that's absolutely, and, yes, the majority of friendships on both sides, with me and my partner are in a group setting. There's, once in a while, maybe it'll be something, but it's always, like, geared towards something we're involved in, you know?
I asked my grandpa once because him and my grandma before he passed were married like 50 years, I think, something like that.
Yeah,
And so it was always my grandma, my grandpa, and all of us. And so
yeah,
one day I was like, Papa, like, you don't have friends. Like, my head, like, what's wrong with you? Like, my grandma had her two friends she would do things with. And he goes, what are you talking about? I have all kinds of friends. And I was like, no, you don't, homie. I don't ever see you go anywhere or do anything.
yeah.
He's like, you want to know who my best friend is? And I was like, who? And he's like, grandma. And I was like,
Aw.
yeah. And I was like, well, who else? He's like, you're my friend. But he was such a family man. And he was
Yes,
like, they broke the mold with him anyways. That's probably why I'm
yes,
single. I compare everybody to him. But to him, he was like, these are my friends. This is
yes,
what fulfills me. Again, different time, different era. No text messaging, no cell phones, no social media. The grass isn't greener, that whole thing. But we were his friends. We were everything that he needed right there. So, and he said, and do you think your grandma would let me have a friend? And I was like, oh no, she'd probably kick your ass and hers.
yes,
So it's
yes,
a whole different era, whole different time. But I was also raised that don't call my husband or boyfriend and ask him how he's doing. He's fine.
yes,
Now, if I met somebody who's had friends from childhood and she's part of it, and I've met her and I text and now we get along, that can happen. It's rare, but it can happen.
yes. I the So Ricardo and I, when we first got together, the where I knew it was maybe going to be more serious relationship than just like dating or something was he had a couple friends that they were friends, attractive women that were friends, not just like we're talking about now, like with boundaries, like friends that would call each other. And a couple times that happened when we were hanging out as we were, a month or two went by. And I can remember he was like, "Oh, what am I doing right? Oh, you need advice on something?" And he's like, "Well, Jen's right here. Here,
Yeah.
ask her," and he would hand me the phone, and I was like,
See, and that made you feel comfortable. That
"That
didn't make you feel like
yeah,
you were like, so I have a manager at work who we have become friends, I guess. We talk, we laugh at work, whatever. So he's married, and
yeah,
his wife is one of those old school Mexican women, like, I'll kick your ass, don't come near my husband.
yeah,
But I met her. I got invited to their house for 4th of July last year. I went for a little bit and she was like hugs and kisses and warm and like eat and go do this.
yeah,
That happens, but it's also because it's through our work though too. But I'm
mhm,
also not calling him and saying, "Hey,
no,
let's hang out." So I think the situation varies on the whole friendship thing, right?
yeah,
And what does a friend mean to each individual person?
yes,
Because for me, like I said, I have a million acquaintances. But friendship to me means I can call you at 2 a.m. if something happens. You're going to be invited to my wedding. You're going to be invited to my daughter's graduation or something like that. That's friendship to me.
and those are friends, though, that do have boundaries where you wouldn't hang out with them one-on-one, maybe, but you are friends you know that you could
Yeah.
call them. Yes,
Yes.
yes, absolutely, I agree with that, which also makes me wonder, what about the old analogy, friends with benefits? Can people that let's say, are friends and they do cross that line, can they still remain friends?
I think again on every situation, but probably not. Like, and the thing is, what specifically is friends with benefits? Is it just specifically only sex? Because then that always blows up. That never ends well because when you mix that, somebody gets emotional, whether it's the guy or the girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
Yeah,
It's not
that's not. You
sustainable.
can't have that. And it's not just the girl that gets because guys always like to say it's the girl. No, no, no. Guys also easily get attached, and a lot of women cannot be attached but enjoy that part that they need in their life.
Yes.
Um, I dated somebody 2 years, maybe, I don't even know. He went through a really tragic thing in his life, and I kind of was there for him, and we were just friends, and then it led to more. but in the back of our heads, we both knew it could never be more for different situations, not him or I, but just outer situations.
Mhm.
But we were such good friends, and then it started to come to a point where it's either gonna move forward or not, and we stopped. And it was hard, I think, for both of us. Like, now we're, "Hey, what's up? How are you? How are the kids? Oh, I saw Seth the other day. He's amazing. Oh my god, Loran's beautiful." Like, we're at that point,
Yeah.
but we're never gonna be friends. We're never gonna hang out. It's if we
Yeah.
just run into each other, and it's not that him or I couldn't handle it. It was just but when you sincerely have and we weren't friends with benefits because I think we were more than friends.
Yeah.
But in just that situation was hard enough, and then for people to say I can just be friends with benefits, I think that's a lie too. Like,
Mhm.
I don't think that's possible because somebody gets attached.
Somebody's gonna get attached. Somebody
Yes.
is gonna go sideways on, for
Y
sure.
and
Um,
that's hard, like, that's hard to release from that point and to walk away and still wanna say, "How's your day? How are you doing?" "Oh, I met this guy and he's super cool," and that guy's like, "Yeah, I don't wanna hear this shit," like, because men it's the whole thing of, like, I can cheat and she has to suck it up. But the minute she cheats, a guy's like, "Oh my god, it's so dramatic." And I'm like, "Wait, but you did it to her 10 times and she does it once." And it's like because it's that whole sex thing, like, "She let some other guy do this, but you did it to 10 other girls."
yes.
So, afterwards, if it's the girl that walks away from the friends with benefits, the guy definitely can't handle it. I
Yes.
think the girl will try to stay friends and handle it if it's the guy that cut it off, but eventually, slowly, the girl will cut back, and then or meet somebody new and just completely cut it off.
Yes.
You
It's
agree, Solomon?
Well, both the last two things you guys talked about, let me get a camera here. The friends of with exes and the friends with, benefits. Well, first of all, friends with benefits, yeah, it's just not sustainable. The thing you have to remember, those people go into that for different reasons, right? If you've been married 10 years and you don't have a sex life, or you feel like you're not getting attention at home, or your wife doesn't like you, your husband doesn't pay attention to you, that's one reason, right? And so people find this commonality. They start to talk about it, which is number one. First of all, cardinal sin, number one. Never, ever, ever discuss your spouse to someone of the opposite sex. Like never,
Not even to get
never, never. If you have a if you're married and you have some issues with your husband and you have a male friend,
Mhm.
you never ever discuss
Really?
that. Yes, you could talk to your mama,
Yeah,
you
my
could
friend
talk to your
I do, yeah.
girlfriends.
But I didn't think
You
about
do
that.
not do that. Once you do that, that sends a signal to that guy, whoever it is, that oh, it's open season. This woman's vulnerable. If I say the right things, eventually it's going to get to the point where she says to me, "Wow, you really listen to me. I wish my husband listened to me the way you do."
Do you
And it's
think that's how
over.
affairs start?
Absolutely, it's how affairs
yeah.
start. Absolutely, and it's over. So that's
On
cardinal
both
sin.
both
Okay.
Trust
sides.
me.
Yep.
But yeah, in terms of friends with benefits, I think it's a very short-lived road. I think what a lot of times what people don't really realize is somewhere along the line you get what you needed. And sometimes it's just validation of your feelings or to know that someone cares. But then people feel like they have to take it all the way to sex and all the way to all of this other stuff when that's not really what you need. So I think when you get into those situations where you're talking to someone, you sort of have to say, okay, at what point am I satisfied? And be able to walk away from it like that. But
And do you think that you just need a short, temporary friend hug, like, "Let me cry it out, just support me, I'm going through something hard in the moment," and then once you pass that moment or whatever it is, that person's all that extra stuff is no longer needed?
right, but, that's a pretty hard thing to turn off for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much just like I'm always sort of evaluating how I feel, and I know I can get to a point where I go, "Okay, I got what I needed." Whether it was just some other girl's attention or just something to say, "Okay, I feel validated," or I
Yeah.
feel whatever, and that's the end of it. I don't need to go further than that, you
Yeah.
know? So I don't know, but yeah, in terms of friends, like, um, what was the one you were talking about? I'm sorry,
With
before this.
boundaries or benefits?
No, no, friends.
With your exes,
There you
with
With your
go. That
exes?
co-parenting? Yeah.
Yes.
there are too many factors to determine that because the number one factor is why you broke up in the first place. right? And then the status of that breakup. If you've got kids and it was a nasty breakup, yeah, you're not going to be friends. In fact, there's going to be lots of hate and vitriol and all of that. But I think time heals, and I think when in my experience, I did not have a good breakup with my first ex, but eventually it got to the point where it's like, you know what, I'm living my life. My daughter's doing well. Yeah, if you want to ever go hang out or whatever, fine. I don't have an issue with it. It's like you can just, and I can be friends on that level. And I actually wanted that because it's sort of like you want to prove to yourself that I don't hate this person,
Yeah.
and all of that hate and stuff is over. And so it's just a way of sort of saying, look, I overcame this. It's almost like here's what I needed.
But do you
So
think at that point you can just be friends because you've already gone through all the other
yes,
crap?
yes,
So you can be friends at that point.
right.
If
And
enough
that's
Yeah.
and
time if
that's the
enough time
boundary.
has
That's the
Yes,
passed.
that's the
boundary.
If
boundary.
enough time has passed.
Yeah.
Yes, because you know what? A few months ago, I found out, even though I hadn't talked to him in many, many years, that my high school boyfriend had passed away.
I
He
remember that. I'm so sorry.
yeah, he
Yeah.
took his own life. I found out, and the first thing that I thought is like, oh my gosh, like you, you know, I wish he would have reached out to me. I mean, I'm sure everybody thought that,
Yeah.
that was friends
But
with him.
again, that's hard because what if he did reach out to you?
Yeah, and then I'm in a relationship. I can't be there I wouldn't be able to be there on a level that I was,
Yeah.
would be able to be
Yeah.
for you. Like, I'm
Yeah.
coming over your house.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you don't have to be alone. But I
Yeah.
could be on the phone if somebody was in that bad of a place. Um, but for me, it's, yeah, if enough time has passed, Solomon, like you were saying, it is possible, I think, to, like I said, my ex-husband, now we can see
Yeah.
each other and, hi, how you doing? We're not going to hang out or anything like that. But I do, and the main thing is boundaries. Ricardo, when I asked him about this topic today, he said boundaries, boundaries. And he's
But if you have to place a boundary, then are you really just friends? And that's the question that nobody could really truly answer, right? Because just you and I are just friends. I don't have to
yes,
place boundaries.
no,
But if I have to place a boundary with a guy, then are we just friends? Because in the back of his head, he's like, "Come on, girl, when you ready."
well,
Yeah, that's
That's
what it is, though. That's
yeah,
how it
that's
part
is.
of that
yeah,
might be
Yeah,
human
yeah,
nature too.
yeah.
And I got to say this before, because I told her that I promised her that I would. I have a good friend of mine. She's in the LBGQ community, and she said, "Jen, please." I told her this was going to be our topic today, and she's like, "Oh my gosh." She said, "Just because," she said she's like come out to some people and told them that she was gay, and then they automatically think that she wants to sleep with them, and she's like, I don't. She's
yeah.
like, please know that, just like we don't want to hook up with
Well, that's
the
like
opposite
that's a whole
sex.
different that's like the same sex. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
can you be friends? And I've always wondered that too. Like, you're gay, lesbian, whatever it is,
Yep.
how does that come into terms into something like this? And I have zero experience with that, obviously.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I can't answer for them because I'm
Yes.
not. 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
not.
Look at you,
Yeah.
obviously.
Well,
Yes.
I'm just saying.
She was like, well,
I love.
please tell them that that's not the case. She's like, just like,
I just don't want to offend anybody because I have zero experience in that knowledge.
yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Well, she
You
said it'd
know.
be the same if like we don't want to sleep with every man we see. They don't want to
And
sleep
yeah.
with every woman or vice versa that
And
they
but see,
see.
I guess I would never even really pay attention. Like I would never. I've met so many gay women. I have friends that
Right?
are gay women, and I
I don't
never
think,
think
yeah,
that.
no, I
Like,
know.
and to be honest, if they hit on me, I'd be flattered. I'd be like, "Oh, she's so
Right?
cute."
That's the
But
best compliment.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't ever like think twice.
I know.
Okay,
Yeah.
ladies,
So
let's wrap this up.
Are we going to wrap it up, Solomon?
We
basically,
are.
what was our final answer? Either they can or cannot truly just be friends.
Boundaries need to exist.
Boundaries need
And boundaries
to.
are a necessity when it deals with men. That's what the final answer
So
is.
basically, the answer is no. Because why do you need boundaries, right?
Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. Let's say we took away all of the borders for all the countries in the world, right? It's just open. People would just start fighting for land, for resources, everything, right? And what would eventually happen is you would get to the point where people would fight to the point where they have like equal standings. And at that point, they would form treaties and create boundaries, right?
Yes.
So countries can't exist without
Boundaries.
boundaries.
Yeah.
So it's a normal part of that
Yeah.
combative life.
Well,
There you
good
go.
to know. The one thing I will have to say is thank you for sharing that people shouldn't be venting about their spouse to the opposite sex. That's huge. I didn't ever even thought about that.
That's the
And you've
number one route to
enlightened me on
cheating.
that. Yeah.
Just like they say money is the number one reason of divorce, that's the number one route to cheating right
All right. Well, thank you, Solomon, for joining with us today.
Yes, thank you so much, Solomon.
Jen, we
Yes,
good?
Selena, we're good. I really this. Let us know in the comments if there's any of your experience with this. I mean, I feel like we could go on forever, but
Yeah.
I don't want to do that to the viewers because I'm sure there's people right now watching that are like, oh my gosh, he's with his ex right now picking up the kids and you don't know what's going on or vice versa or
Yeah.
you're a man and you just started dating somebody and she's a hottie and she has a couple kids with
Yeah.
somebody and she has to go see the baby daddy regularly and it goes through your mind, what are they doing,
Yeah.
so it is
True.
a loaded
It
topic.
totally is.
So if
But
you want to share your experience with us in the comments, and please hit like and subscribe.
yes,
So
please like and subscribe. Come back for more. We have no idea what the next topic is going to be about, so don't even ask. I know most podcasts tell you. We don't know. We don't know until we walk through the door and Solomon approves it.
there. Yeah.
if you have any ideas that you'd like to see, please let us know too.
All right. Well, thank you for joining today.
Yes,
And thank your
you.
mama for the cookies.
Oh, I will thank her. I will tell her. She'll be so happy you liked them.
Nice.
All right.